Hey, what's going on? GW coming to you live. We're back again. We just took some little time off, to watch some flicks, play some games. You know how it is. Couple new announcements, guys. First of all, if you're really hyped up to see 3 from Hell, it's coming out on October 15th, which is just right around the corner in an unrated Blu-ray. Don't get the DVD, guys, because it'll be chopped up. But if you get the unrated Blu-ray and you get the 4K, you're going to be alright. Trust me. Second thing about the movie, it was going to be a totally different vision. Rob Zombie was going to have Sid Haig all the way through the thing. But recently I've been keeping an eye on the story. Sid Haig's health has been pretty much going downhill for a while. But because of that, he wasn't in good shape to film the movie. So they only brought him in to work for a couple of days. And basically, his character is written out and replaced by a character played by Richard Brake, a character named Foxy, which is Otis's stepbrother, I believe. Now, when you watch the trailer to this thing, I know everyone's been hearing me talk about this for months, so I'm just gonna, kind of bottle this up. When you watch the trailer, you get the feeling that they're going to go to trial, they're going to escape jail. But then the rest of the movie, for a while, guys, was blank. But Rob kind of dropped a lot of plot points, if you will. He said that basically what's going to happen is the Firefly family survives, obviously, or we wouldn't have no movie. And they go to trial. In jail, the 3 of them are separated. So they're all going to be in different terms of their lives. They're going to be dealing with different things. They're going to be reacting differently, whatever. When the prison break happens, Otis kills Danny Trejo's character, Rondo. Which, if you guys remember from Devil's Rejects, if you guys even saw that picture, was one of the Unholy Two. The other one played by WCW alum Diamond Dallas Page. Rondo has connections to the Luchador gang. A Luchador gang. I just can't think of the name right now. Basically, and then that gang comes after the Firefly family, and it basically ends up in an epic showdown in Mexico. So it's going to be something like, I would say, Natural Born Killers meets Desperado. If you guys saw that, or El Mariachi, for a better lack of terms. So definitely give it a whirl. Like I said, definitely pre-order the Blu-ray October 15th. Amazon's got it. I suggest you check it out if you're a fan of horror. If you haven't seen any of the films, then go back to my review and definitely check out 3 of the greatest horror films ever made next to the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies. I will put them up there any day. So that's that. Second thing, I just watched another horror film, one that I don't think got much play in the theater. If it is, it didn't get much fanfare. It's a horror picture, believe it or not, starring Julia Roberts, but not in a title role, guys. No, we're talking about Octavia Spencer in a movie called Ma. You guys hadn't seen this. This thing is very cleverly written, and basically the premise of the movie is there's some hard partying teenagers, and like, I know what you're saying right now. You're like going, was there any other kind of teenagers, Greg? We don't know. But there's some hard partying teenagers who just want to kick it, get drunk, smoke weed, do whatever they want to do. Screw in the corner, whatever. But, so, you know how the story goes. One's a protective mom who has a teenager who wants to go out to parties. The other one, her kid is a local, police chief. And basically they are all grown up, obviously, if they have kids, which I don't know why I just said that. But here's the thing. They go to buy beer, and they get Octavia Spencer's character, who's called Sue Ann in the movie. Now, Sue Ann went to school with a bunch of the local townspeople and had a cruel prank put on her. Now, I'm not going to go into details. I'm not going to tell you who did what to her, guys. It's all revealed in the film. But then it's it's revealed after, like sort of the middle plot line. So you just think Ma's is a cool place to go. She ends up buying the kids beer. Hey, they have fun. And it becomes the party hangout, rivaled only probably by the Bronze and Buffy, if you want to go that way. Maybe a little bit more upscale than the Bronze. I know I'm going back. The thing I liked about this picture is that A, it wasn't too preachy about what kids should do and or shouldn't do. B, like I said, Juliette Lewis was in it, and it's nice to see her back in a role, because the only thing that I've really connected with her or makes me think of her is Natural Born Killers. Now, again, guys, if you haven't seen that film, you should go back and check it out. It's one of Oliver Stone's most politically pointed, not political, but flaming satire of a movie that got the whole movie industry, parents and everybody up in arms, and people were going to see that damn movie and coming out and going, that's why I want to be a serial killer. No, idiot. He just took tabloids and put them on the screen, and he sort of poked fun at the whole thing, and it was misunderstood, and it got a lot of flack. So definitely check it out. It's got Woody Harrelson, Tommy Lee Jones, Juliette Lewis, Robert Sizemore. Let's see, who else is in that? Bud Carr, he's a regular in the Oliver Stone pictures. Rodney Dangerfield was in that movie as an abusive father. And the girl that played Mrs. Poole on the Hogan Family, and Valerie was on there too. Edie McClurg. Yeah, she's in there. Check that out. Definitely give it a whirl. Natural Born Killers, it's pulled from every major crime scene, and it's one of the most craziest experimental films you'll ever see, and it's about two people on a killing spree, cross-country murder spree, but you can't take the film seriously, guys, and that's what people did. They took it seriously, and that's why the whole movie industry was up in arms. You can look up on that. Now, that aside, back to Ma. Ma is done by the producers of Get Out, that Jordan Peele film that got everybody, you know, talking, changed the industry, and the new Halloween movie, which I don't know if I reviewed, guys. I don't know if I touched that one. To go back in my reviews and look at it. If I didn't, I'll give you a review of it, but or an in-depth review. But if I didn't review it, basically, my take on the Halloween pictures are this: that first of all, you had the Donald Pleasance classic Halloween. We all know Jamie Lee Curtis, you know, facing off against the boogeyman, babysitting at night. That was a classic picture. That made you scared of the dark. That made you also afraid of people in William Shatner masks, guys. I'm telling you straight up. Second one, okay, I see why they made that film. And the second one was actually pretty decent. Now, I'm not going into the, you know, couple of sequels that they had, you know, after number 3. Because if you guys don't know, number 3 was not even part of the Halloween series. It was about a corporation who was making masks to exorcise some, you know, demonic thing on Halloween where they were going to have the kids' faces melt off, and it didn't go good, and it was a different take, and it was okay, but it wasn't great. It's a cult picture nowadays. They did the same thing, guys, with Silent Night, Deadly Night. They had 3 movies about a Santa Claus killer, and the third one sucked, but Bill Moseley, who played Chop Top and who plays Otis in Devil's Rejects and 3 from Hell and House of a Thousand Corpses, was in that movie, and it was his first acting role, guys. So if you want to go back and see one of the great legends of horror, go rent Silent Night, Deadly Night 3. You better, is it better watch out? No. Whatever it is, Silent Night, Deadly Night 3. Definitely check it out, but it's a stupid movie. And he basically, the story was crap, but the only thing that, like I said, was the most noteworthy of it was the fact that Bill Moseley got his start acting role. You can check that out. What was I talking about? I don't even know. However, Halloween, that's what I was. Halloween, whenever they announced it was going to be remade, a lot of skepticism, and then they got Jamie Lee Curtis back. And I got to tell you something. If you went from the 1978 classic, forget number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever they're up to now, 10, whatever. and you went right to this one, it makes perfect logical sense. And the way that it was done toward the end was pure, clever, and it was awesome. And it left the room open for a sequel. Sorry, I got my head of myself. And it was great. So if you haven't seen it, check out Halloween. Came out like a year ago, maybe. Definitely give it a whirl. I would recommend that film over the 4, 5, and 6 Halloween movies from, the older days, from the early 90s. And especially that one with Busta Rhymes. But they did try to redeem themselves with Halloween H2O. And like I said, it did basically nothing. And then the one after that, just kind of, Jamie Lee Curtis's character got killed. That's why we're avoiding all the Halloweens, basically after number 2. But anyway, in this film, Ma, I got to tell you something. The story was pretty awesome. And when it got roped in and you saw flashbacks of the prank, apparently someone's excited. They're trying to come through the ceiling. When you saw the prank in action and saw what this girl had to endure, you don't necessarily feel bad for her, but at the same time, you don't feel hate for her. You just kind of go, whoa, that sucked. Now, this is a graphic film, especially toward the end. And it's probably rated R because they had a lot of drug use on the set, in the movies, kids smoking doobies, this and that, drinking, whatever. Typical high school crap. But the murder scenes are set up, and the one thing that I thought was clever is that this woman doesn't use a knife or anything right off the bat. She ends up using dog tranquilizer to put people down, which is kind of interesting. It does have an alternate ending, and I did watch it. It's on the Blu-ray and stuff, and it does work. It leaves it open for a sequel. That's what they all do. But it was done cleverly. And what I liked about this film, too, is it gave the villain, which is Sue Ellen here, Sue Ann, it gave her a lot of room to act as an actress. This Octavia Spencer was amazing. She really was. She went from being this quiet little, I don't talk to nobody in town type deal to raging party host in like 3.2 minutes. And I thought it was pretty cool. Now, I don't think this film, again, got much fanfare because I think the general climate in horror films, guys, are people... There are people that are sick of seeing, like, Jordan Peele-style movies. Even though they change, that's great. They're a flash in the pan. I don't think that way. I say, look, if you're going to be creative, do whatever it takes to be creative. Let's see. Now, basically the movie is pretty cool, like I said, and it's not that long of a jaunt there. But definitely check it out. I recommend it. I know the last review, guys, I said I was going to do the Leprechaun movie, and I lied. I am sorry. I will do it. I will do the newest Leprechaun movie. I will let you know what I think, but I'm going to watch the rest of them first, the old ones with Warwick Davis. Anyway, check Mod. Another unique piece of film that I did see over the last couple of days was a movie called The Dead Don't Die. This is a Jim Jarmusch picture, guys, and I don't expect anybody out there to know who Jim Jarmusch is because he's an independent filmmaker that, unless you were pretty much paying attention to the independent filmmakers of the 90s, he kind of slipped through your fingers. He did a film called Stranger Than Paradise, which, when you mention that to casual Joe Schmo, the film critic, he ain't gonna know what you're talking about. But anyway, he directed that and somehow had a lot of friends in the industry. Bill Murray was one, Adam Driver, Chloe Sevigny, who was on Kids, and it was an all-star cast. Steve Buscemi plays a farmer in that film. Danny Glover's in there. Basically, it's a slow burn picture about zombies, what makes the world end, and it's just a look at a small town in Pennsylvania. Can't even think of the name. And basically it descends very slowly into Zombiegeddon. and it's worth checking out if you like some of the actors. And the storyline, it didn't really do too well, and in the end they threw a Plan 9 from outer space ending where a spaceship shows up out of nowhere. I get it, you know, and it's only for select audiences. But if you're looking for something corny and campy and just something to have on, if you don't appreciate his movies or you haven't checked them out, it's worth, you know, checking out. You could see his style. And it's also pretty cool to see Chloe Sevigny in something other than kids, and I think she was in a cop drama, you know, some time back. She's never really had, you know, a breakout sort of movie that she could go with, and this is the closest one. And I got to tell you something, for being an independent film, the gore on this thing is done very well. I would be shocked if Tom Savini didn't work on some of this underneath a different name. I wouldn't be so sure, guys. I wouldn't be so sure that he didn't, because if you watch the film, it's done, the gore is done Savini style, but it's sparse. But I will tell you, the one reason that I liked watching it, and I would probably watch it again, is from Steve Buscemi's character as a farmer who wants to keep all America's values the same. You know, keep America, you know, the way it is. He doesn't like anything, you know, he's a little bit racist, but he's a character that most people can identify with. Same with Danny Glover. They play opposite sides of the spectrum. Danny Glover, you know, basically is... Oh, Carol Kane's in that film, too, for like 2 seconds. And it's nice to see her acting opposite Bill Murray for just a couple minutes. And they do throw some Kill Bill stuff in there. There's a girl with a samurai sword, and I'm not quite sure what her deal is. I got to watch the movie like 2 or 3 more times. But yes, definitely. And there's also a song, too, guys. It's called The Dead Don't Die. I don't know if it's a real song, but I think it is because I play it all the way through this movie. But it's nice checking out the independent, you know, version of horror. And Jim Jarmusch did a good job. If you guys don't know him, check out Stranger Than Paradise. And if you do happen to like his stuff, there's another filmmaker that you guys should know, and that's Richard Linklater. And why is Richard Linklater so familiar to some of you guys? He did a movie called Slacker. You may or may not have heard about it. Anyway, spotlight on the IFC department, huh? But anyway, definitely give Ma a whirl. It was a fun horror fest. Like I said, definitely check out your 3 from Hell coming October 15th. Definitely get it from Amazon, because that way it save you a trip to the mall or wherever the hell you're going to go. Definitely get that delivered. And I want to mention one more thing. I did see something that was pretty cool this morning. There was an X-Files episode. It was from Season 4, Episode 2. It was called Home. And I guess this episode, guys, had a lot of controversial moments to it, and it was only aired one time by Fox and then pulled. It was never really aired for a repeat viewing. And basically, it's about 3 inbred brothers, kind of like the people in Wrong Turn, you know, them kind of hillbilly mountain guys, you know what I mean? The real, you know, 10, 12 years of inbreeding, you know what I mean? They were actually inbreeding with their mother. And the reason that Mulder and Scully got sort of roped into this deal is because they found a dead baby at a baseball field with signs of inbreeding, you know, through generations and this and that. And it was a pretty wicked story. And I'll tell you what, I watched it this morning, guys, and it was a little bit more violent than most of the X-Files out there. But you can check it out on Amazon Prime, or I think Netflix has it. Look it up, Home. So if you guys like horror and you guys like a little bit of crazy stuff, definitely check this one out. Season 4, Episode 2, Home. Definitely give that a whirl. And, is there anything else going on that we need to know about? Oh, yeah, one other thing. Before I just cut off completely here for a little bit. Lately, there was a dude that auditioned from Saturday Night Live. I can't even think of the cat's name. I had it when I came down here, but I started talking to you about Halloween and everything else. There was a guy auditioned for Saturday Night Live. He got the job. Then they found out in a podcast he dropped a couple of words Saturday Night Live, Lorne Michaels, president, didn't like. Well, here's my take on it. Because people have been asking me all day. Because I love comedians. I don't care, you know, what nobody says. If you look at the Saturday Night Live cast from back in the 70s, you had Eddie Murphy, and one of their first guests, believe it or not, guys, was George Carlin. Now, those two guys right there are controversy times 10. They also had Andrew Dice Clay on the show. Now, if you look at a lot of the things Eddie Murphy said in Delirious and Raw, made this guy look like a nun. You know what I'm saying? So my point is, if you're a comedian, and he did this on his own podcast, it wasn't like he did this on the show. Basically, I'd be boycotting Saturday Night Live. Because Saturday Night Live back in the 70s, 80s, and even late 90s, I'll even give it to 2000s, was a great show. You could say whatever you want. You could show skits that weren't appropriate. I mean, crap. Look at Adam Sandler's Canteen Boy. You tell me you could show that now, right? Nude Beach, Dennis Miller, and all them on a pier talking about a part of the anatomy. The Refrigerator Repairman, classic sketch where Dan Aykroyd comes in, half his butt crack showing. That was all funny stuff, and it was done to skewer what was going on in the real world. People understood it. You know, it was a better show because they were edgy. But now I turned the show on, you know, the other night, and I gotta tell you guys, I'm bored to death. There's nothing that even remotely made me laugh. Even like Weekend Update. I loved Weekend Update. You know, Weekend Update was great. You had Dennis Miller, who went on to do the Dennis Miller Show on HBO. Really love that show, and I don't know why that's not on DVD. You had, you know, guests and everything else. I turned it on. I waited for Weekend Update after like 4 boring sketches. You know, and it was crap. Because there's no edginess in Saturday Night Live anymore. So the guy that got fired, I don't know your name. Like I said, I had it when I came downstairs. I wouldn't even feel bad. I wouldn't feel bad. I would go to Showtime, or I'd go, you know, to some variety show, and I would be edgy as hell, and I wouldn't care. Because the other thing, too, is you take an Eddie Murphy, you put him in front of a live mic in a club. That's a different Eddie Murphy than you gonna see in front of the cameras. You know, on a broadcast network. That's why I don't really watch TV no more, broadcast stuff. You know. Now, American Ninja Warrior I will watch. But I mean, like as far as dramas, other than the Chicago Med, Chicago, you know, PD and all that stuff, I don't mess around with. Because you're limited. So, a lot of people are now boycotting Saturday Night Live, all the, you know, comedians, whatnot. And that's great. You know, because I don't know what happened to Saturday Night Live. Saturday Night Live used to be the cool thing to stay up for. You know, you drink some pop when you're a kid, you stay up, you watch Church Lady. You watch Sean Penn punch Dana Carvey in the face in that Church Lady sketch. But nowadays, it's like, you know what, sleep seems better than watching Channel 11. Yeah, it's crazy. But anyway, I don't want to get too deep on that. But I just think it's stupid. You know, it's the same thing how WWE wrote out Hulk Hogan after they said he dropped the N-word on the videotape. I never seen it, never heard it. So they're going to erase Hulk Hogan from the WWE archives, and then people bitch and complain because Hulk Hogan was a role model and it made WWE look bad. So now WWE says, okay, you know, come on back. They can just rewrite history. I don't get that. Imagine if I rewrote some history. What kind of craziness would ensue? I don't know, guys. But definitely check Ma out. I hope you like it. And like I said, I thought it was really good. And I want to see some comments, okay? Because I tell all these people to watch my videos, you know, and I don't see anybody commenting. So I want some comments. Oh, and I got one more thing to do, and this is from my main man, Jason Andriossi. So we're going to get into this right now. Just give me 1 second, Jay, and I'm going to do the promo for you. My man Jason wants me to do a promo Dusty Road style, so I'm going to do it. I told him I'd do it. So here's what we're going to do. December 22nd, Starcade, Ric Flair, Ric Flair, you and I, we got some scores to settle. You understand what I'm saying? We're gonna get funky like a monkey in the jungle, you know what I mean? Ric Flair. And the Four Horsemen, Tony, they came down, they took a crowbar, they broke my wrist, right? They broke the Dusty Rhodes' fingers. They broke a crowbar. The crowbar then broke my shoulder blade, Tony. But that's all fine and good, Flair. Have your moment in the sun, because December 22nd, Flair. December 22nd. Inside a steel cage. In Charlotte, North Carolina. It's going to be you on one side and the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, on the other. And I talked to Todd Gordon. And I said to him, I said, Todd, I said, what am I going to do? He said, talk to Ted Turner. Go to Ted Turner, see what you can do. Those men beat you up in front of the Turner offices, go talk to him. So Flair, yesterday, I made an appointment to talk to that man. And that man said, Dusty, inside that steel cage, Dusty, you can wear your cast. They had an unfair advantage when they attacked you in the parking lot. Dusty, you're going to have an unfair advantage in that cage. And they said, what are you going to do? And I said to them, I said, we're going to get funky like a monkey in the jungle, Jack. I said, there will be bloodshed. There's going to be dreams crushed. And when it's all over, Ric Flair is going to lose the NWA World title. It's going to go on around the waist of the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, because the people want it. That's what I told them. So Flair, October 22nd, you be prepared for war, because you started it. Now all you got to do is show up and I'll finish it. The American Dream will finish the war. Because when you're stripped of your title and it goes against my waist, the only thing you're going to be singing, Jack, is you're going to be singing your blues all the way to the unemployment line. Ain't that right, Randy Savage?
Ooh, yeah, he's right there. He's got a point there. Ric Flair's gonna lose the title. Yeah.
And that's how you cut a promo, Jack. Just like that.